Hi, and welcome to Moments with Jesus. My name is Mike, and you think about your day and you wonder, I know that everybody should take all their moments and give them to Jesus. But I think in this broken world that we have to walk through with Him, that's very difficult to do. And but we still need to try that. We have to walk with Him. It's not just about going to a church, which is the good thing. It's not just about listening to the sermon, which is a good thing. It's not about all just those things. It's about taking what you've learned and what He's taught and going out into His broken world and using those things to help others. And He said it Himself, that He did not come to be served, but to serve. And serve He did. He served all humanity, right to the point of death, where He won our salvation. So I try to encourage everybody, try to pick up your Bible. This is a King James version. They got an NIV version, which a friend of mine and his wife gave me. They got other Bibles too. But I think really it's not about which one you read. It's about taking the time to read it, taking those moments of your life that He gave you as a gift and giving those moments back to Him. And that's what I'm hoping to be able to show here, is every time I'm on video, or even if I'm not on video, even if I was just audio, or even if I didn't do this, the time I take out to just sit and be with the Lord is the most important time of my life. Most important time of your life too. And this is going to be a public broadcast show here in Fall River, because that's where I live. I did one in Rhode Island for a while. And then my wife and I moved to Fall Rivers, and I couldn't find another PBS station up here to work with until about a month ago. And then I started doing broadcasts again. And I call it Moments with Jesus. And so this will be something that, right, these few moments that I'm going to spend right now, I'm going to give you some inspiration that I read from an inspirational book that are backed up by the Bible. And I'll read the Bible passages also. And this is when I first met the Lord, I needed something to read because I had nothing to read. I had Bibles, but I wasn't going to church, and I wasn't doing anything religiously, so to speak. Definitely not religious. And so when I met Him, I needed something to read, so I asked for something to read. And these books were first books that came into my life. Was one called God Calling, and I've read it, and read it, and read it, and it's the information in it. I hear the Lord speaking to us, telling us what we need to do and how we should be with Him. And I can open the Bible and read the passages that are in support of those words that I read, and I hear the Lord speaking to us there too. The Lord is everywhere. He's right here with me now. He's right there with you, sitting right there, right next to you. Could be on the left, could be probably on the left and the right. Above you, below you, inside you, everywhere. And the more time and moments you give to Jesus, the more you begin to see how much he really is there and how close he really is. And when you do these things, when you take these moments and give them to the Lord, he really appreciates it. Oh, still can bad things happen? Yep, and they're gonna. He said that also in the Bible. You know, in this world, this fallen, broken world that he created, you're still going to have trials and tribulations. He had them. His apostles had them. All his followers had them. So we're no different. But we're going to have them. There's a million things to learn. However, we have the best teacher in the world. If we take time to believe that he's actually walking with us. It's just not going to a church on Sunday, and there you meet God, you worship God, and you listen to the Word, and then you walk out in the world and do whatever you want. That's not what it's about. God walks out with you. He's standing there watching you, waiting for you to use some of the information you learned in church. Okay? Hoping that you'll really begin to believe and have faith that he is right there with you. That maybe something happens and you just, a bad accident could have happened and it was avoided. And you think, well, we were just lucky. There is no luck. You were blessed not to be in the accident. Or, if you were in an accident, minimal damage, or maybe no damage. And your job at that point in time would be to look up and say, thank you, Jesus. You don't even have to look up. You can just say, thank you, Jesus. You don't have to say it out loud. Inside your heart, you say, thank you, Jesus. So here's some inspiration. There's different inspirations every day, and I'm going to read one every day. And I have a friend in Pennsylvania. His name is Josh. And I had been putting videos up every single day. And I got sidetracked because the devil's great at that. He wants to sidetrack us. And I do send out these inspirations every day to a group that requests them. And I do sing happy birthday. Although I think sometimes maybe I've missed a few. So I'll have to continue this every day for the rest of my life. And one time, I'll make all 365 days. So I will have sung happy birthday to Jesus on his exact birthday, which the world still does not know the exact day. We celebrate it on the 25th, which is a good thing, of December. But no one can say that is the exact day he was born. There's much controversy about that. So, but we'll leave the controversy. That'll all be cleared up in the air. So here's the inspiration today. And the words say this. He starts off by saying, come to me continually. Okay, now, just even if you have to imagine, just have faith, believe. This is the Lord speaking to us, to me, to you, to everybody in the world. Okay? Come to me, Lord, continually. Now, if you go to a dictionary, look up the word continually. If you turn your water faucet on and leave it on, the water runs continuously. So he's saying, come to me continually. So he wants us to be with him, with our minds focused on him continually. And the second line is, I am meant to be the center of your consciousness. Okay. He gave us a great mind. We have a conscience up there. Okay? And he was meant, and we were created, that he be the center of our consciousness, right at the exact center. Okay? He goes on to say, the anchor of your soul. And we all know what an anchor does. Okay? If you go out to a harbor or see boats out with a line coming down from the bow or the stern or the side, a rope usually on the other end of the rope is an anchor. It's heavy, sits on the bottom and holds the boat in one place. All the boat can turn by the tides, but it stays in that one place. Okay? Even during rough seas, if you have a big enough anchor, you'll stay in one place. Unless the rope breaks, okay, then your boat will drift. And this is the same thing. Okay, that's why we want to stay with Jesus continually. Keep him at the center of our mind, because he is the anchor to our soul, which we all have, which you can deny, you can say you don't, you can do whatever you want to do, but everyone's got it. Male, female, all the same. Now it goes on with the next line, says, your mind will wander from me. So he's already telling us our minds, that's where he's at the center. Our minds are still going to wander from that center point of him. But, as he goes on, the question is, how far you allow it to wander. Okay, we have a gift, free will. We can wander. We all do it. We all make mistakes. We're letting our mind wander to things we shouldn't let it wander to. Okay? But we have that free will to do that. So how far do we let it happen? That's the discipline we need to develop. The next line. An anchor on a short rope lets a boat drift only slightly before that taut line tugs the boat back towards the center. Now, I've been out in boats. I've owned a couple of boats when I was younger, and that's exactly what happens. You see, you set the anchor, it locks on the bottom, hooks up on a rock or whatever, and then you can let the line out and move the boat to where you want it and then lock it off. Or you can pull the rope in and the boat moves up closer to where the anchor is, to where maybe it's directly above the anchor, and then you lock it off and it stays right there. Okay? Now if you let out a lot of line and you begin to drift further, the anchor makes the rope grows taut and pulls the boat back towards the center. That's exactly what Jesus does. If we're giving him our moments. If we're not thinking about him, and we're not following him, and we're not trying to, or we only go to church one day a week and never think of him again until the following Sunday, the Sunday thing's a good thing. Everybody needs to do it. Or should do it. But the other 6 days, they never think of it. Now, they will think sometimes if something really bad happens. Then they call out to God, Jesus, for help. But only if something bad is happening. They rarely say thank you for all the good things he's given you during that day. And there are many. Think about if you're honest with yourself, that's another journey in itself. You got to be truthful with you, okay? Worship me in spirit and in truth. That's what we have to do. Okay. Next line. Similarly, as you drift away from me, my spirit within you gives a tug, prompting you to return to me. That's exactly what happens. Now, you have to acknowledge that the Spirit is actually there. You have to believe and have faith and believe 100% that His Spirit is there. Sometimes, in my particular case, and in a few other people I've met, okay, they know He's there. He's already touched their lives and allowed them the privilege and honor and to know that He's real, that He's really there. Okay? Not everybody, this does not happen to everybody. Okay, someday it will, but for now, this is all God's choice, which is probably a good thing. But those people still need to, when they feel that tug, and people will, you know, I've heard people's stories on something. Well, I thought I shouldn't have gone there and done that, but I did, and but they didn't learn anything from it. They think it was just coincidence. There's no coincidences, ever. Okay. So, He's telling us, and He knows we're going to drift away. So His Spirit that's in us, and everybody, is going to send out the tug signal. I was talking just the other night last night to a friend named Jeff, and we both were talking about that's how it happens. For us, okay? He sends a tug signal out, I think, to everybody. They're just not listening, or they're not sensing His presence. I wish everybody could sense His presence. It would change their lives. But again, this is His world. He's in control, and therefore the choices are His. Okay. As you become increasingly attuned to my presence, so you can think about Him. If you're thinking about Him, He'll help you. He knows. If you haven't had an experience where you absolutely know He's there, you can still feel His presence. Okay, so it's and He'll help you because He knows how difficult that is. But He wants to help you. He wants you to know that when you feel this certain way, that's Him pulling you back toward the center. He doesn't want you where you're at. He wants you over here. And as He said in the Bible, those who do the will of my Father are my brothers and sisters. So if we're listening to Him, who is one with the Father, that's how we get to the Father, then you'll be able to let Him lead you. And the more you practice that, the better you get at it. At first, yeah, you're going to make a lot of mistakes, but keep practicing. Don't give up. Develop the discipline to practice. It's hard to do, but it can be done. Okay? So it goes, as you become increasingly attuned to my presence, the length of rope on your soul's anchor is shortened. So if a person goes to church on Sunday, and faithfully every Sunday they're in church, And then goes out into the world and just thinks that, well, they just got, this is it. That's all they have to do. They got a lot of rope on that from the anchor, which is Jesus. But as they give him their moments of time and spend time with him consciously, he'll begin to shorten that rope and draw them closer to him. The closer you draw to him, the safer your life becomes on this earth, where he's right with us. But it still is a fallen, broken world, and it's still going to remain a fallen, broken world till the end. Okay? The last line. You wander only a short distance before feeling that inner tug, that inner feeling, telling you to return to your true center in me, Jesus. That's where you only wander a short distance before you feel that inner tug. That inner tug is the most important feeling, sensation that your inner being will feel, because that is the presence of the Lord. And once you feel that, you're on the long rope, and he keeps drawing you. If you give over your free will, you can stay on the long rope. Okay? He's not going to force you. There's no big control factors here. You have to do it freely. It's a tough part. But if you do, he'll help you. And if you make that tiny first step, he'll reach out and help you. Okay? Now, these words come with Bible support. One of the Bible supports is Hebrews, okay, which is in the New Testament in the Bible. All right? This is a King James version. Okay? Hebrews 6, verse 19. So I go to chapter 6, and verse 19, and this is what it has to say. Which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil. Okay. So that's supports basic theme of these words. Which some people say, oh, you shouldn't read, they should only read the Bible. Well, I believe that he inspires, from the Bible, he inspires people in this world to read, to write certain things. They know if they're trying to find Jesus. And if they are, he'll help them. And if he wants them to do this, then they'll do it. Will other people try to say, oh no, you shouldn't do it? Yeah, it's going to be. This is a war zone out here. Okay? There's people that want to follow Jesus, and there's a whole faction of souls that don't want you to follow Jesus. They don't want you to even know Jesus. That's their job. So you have, just like in any World War I, World War II, Korean War, Iraq, you have two sides. This war, spiritual war, has been going on since the beginning of time. Okay, then the second Bible passage is from 1 John 2, verse 28. So I go to 1 John. There's a book of John, there's 1 John, I think there's 2 John, no. Yeah, I think there's First John. That's it, I think. Okay, yeah, it's 1 John, and then there's the book of John. And then John the Apostle wrote Revelations. So, here's 1 John 2, verse 28. Here's that verse. And now, little children, abide in him, that when he shall appear, we may have confidence and not be ashamed before him at his coming. Ashamed being boldness, embarrassed, and confidence being boldness. So, that verse supports these words also. And then there's one from Matthew 22, and I'll read that one. Matthew 22, which is one of the Gospels, verse 37. And Jesus is giving people one of the parables. And this 37 is one of the parables. But last of all, he sent unto them his Son, saying, they will reverence my Son. Now we know from history they didn't quite do that. They were supposed to. They should have. And these words tell us they should have. But as the Bible says, they didn't do that. Okay. And that was one of the parables. I'm not going to read the whole parable. I'll just read the Bible support that someone read those Bible passages, and that spirit that is talked about in here tugged on their spirit to write down these words, which coincide right along with what the Bible is talking about. So there are a lot of good things you could read out there that, Bible number 1 would be number 1. But there's other books, inspirational books, that were written by people that understood that Jesus is all around them, right with them. And he's there to help. He's pulling on that cord, okay, that spiritual cord that we can't see. It's a rope. We're at the end of it. We're out there drifting on the seas. We're still anchored to him, but he needs us closer to help us more, to show us more, to teach us more. That's the importance, really, of churches. There is an importance to a church. All the different churches, and the different denominations, that's, man's done that, out of disagreement and arguments. Okay. There's only one Lord, and that's Jesus. That's it. If you believe in his religion, if you want to say religion, it's Christianity. So if you're a Christian following Jesus, then you're a Christian. Okay. Other people follow different things. Back in Roman times, they had sun gods, this god, that god. We follow Jesus, as we know it in the book. There's another name in the ancient text of Yeshua. And there's kind of 2 different spellings on that because they didn't have vowels back then. And there's some controversy come up on those names. And then, of course, Jesus said, I and the Father are one. So the Father, his name in the book was Yahweh. So if we're really talking to God the Father, we'd be calling him by his name. But again, they didn't have vowels back then, so they had to insert the vowels later. And this A-E-I-O-U, okay, 5 vowels, which ones did they pick? Why did they pick them? Who picked them? I have no idea. You'd have to either been born and raised in that time and watch these people do it, or believe someone that tells you why they did it. But again, we know that there's 2 factions. We have good and evil. And they're warring. They're warring for what? For us. For our souls. Can't tell it any more simple, folks. There's a book I read. Jesus said, simplicity is a keynote to heaven. And if you think about life, the simpler your life is, the less you have in it, the easier life becomes. People don't see that either. Not everybody. There are some, but most people got to have a lot of stuff in their life. The more stuff, the happier they are. But after a while, they realize that stuff doesn't bring them happiness. The happiness they're truly looking for is when they find Jesus. That's the way it is. So, I've enjoyed this moment, these moments with Jesus. Okay, it's a group of moments. And then the PBS show is an hour, so if I don't have an hour of this right now, then I'll do another one and melt those 2 together until I come up with an hour of PBS. I'm going to put a song in the front of this. It's called Talking About Jesus. It's a song that I wrote and play guitar on. And I have a wonderful Christian friend, Anthony, and he had a studio up in Providence, and we met. The Lord put us together, and Anthony did the arrangements, the technical arrangements in the studio. He played the bass, the guitar, and did all the mixing. So that's who did that, and I sang and played guitar with him. And there's another song called "A Child at Home," which I'll use on the end of these PBS shows, and that also was done in the same manner. And because he said to us, become as little children if you want to enter into the kingdom of heaven. Children, think about it. They accept things willingly. They follow. This is why it's so important for parents to teach their children about the Lord. Give them some foundation. It will help them later on in life. Church on Sunday is good, and even maybe a Bible study, but I think parents should take some part of each day, and as much as possible, to teach their children, about Jesus. Will they do that? Probably not. Because the world, or evil has wrapped this world into, parents, most of them need 2 or 3 jobs just to survive the cost of things today. And if you got 3 or 4 kids, you got a big job. I didn't grow up under those circumstances, so I was very fortunate that way. Okay. I feel bad for really some of the parents that they really can't take time with their children. And then in a way, some of them, they learn that they have to discipline their time and do everything, set it out in a precise manner. And they find time. And they take time and discipline themselves to use that time to work with their children, to give them the foundation of Christianity. And they take them to church. Some kids, they don't get to go to church anymore because the parents have basically given up. And they need to stop that because they're still on that anchor chain. Like you said, you're still there. But you need to take time out. You know, and people think, well, I'd have to be a good pastor. You don't have to go to pastor school. You can read the Bible. The Lord's in the Bible. His words will teach you and your wife and your children all they need to know. And when you don't understand something, pray for the Lord to teach you, help you understand it. People say, well, they go to their pastors. Well, what does this mean? Well, he may not really know. He might give you an answer. But he might not know. That's why a pastor's job is to introduce you to Jesus. After that, his job is done. Then you have to accept Jesus and let Jesus teach you. That's the way it is. Praise God. All right. I'll be back with another moment with Jesus